And it's funny, but it's true. Live long enough and you'll get arthritis, skin cancer, probably one of the common chronic diseases like CHF, COPD, diabetes. At All County Healthcare, we teach you how to manage your disease. We make sure you know how to take your medications and how to recognize signs and symptoms before requiring hospitalization, no matter how many visits it takes. You didn't move to Florida to be sick. You moved here to enjoy the rest of your life. And that's exactly what our team of nurses, therapists, and aides at All County Healthcare help you do.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to How to Stay Healthy, where we interview doctors each week across the vast medical landscape of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care. Join us here for your prescription to better health.
Welcome, listeners. This is Lou Viazzi tonight. I'm filling in for David DePino, who's on vacation. David, if you're listening, I hope you're enjoying your vacation. And we have a great guest tonight. We have two guests. We have a father and son team. And we have, first we have Mr. Felix, Charles Felix, who's the publisher of the Hospital News. It's a newspaper right here that goes out to all the hospitals. It's called Hospital News. And Charles, you've been pushing this out for 15 years, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been publishing now since 2004. We're in our 15th year of publication.
And what is basically the purpose of, why did you get into the hospital? Why did you get into this publishing? It's a very rare publication.
It's truly a narrow market. What we decided to do 15 years ago is when you looked at the landscape of the healthcare industry, there was a void in the market that nobody really was reporting back to the professionals in healthcare. Hospital administrators, home healthcare companies, doctors. Nobody was talking to them about the business of healthcare. And that's what we've been doing for 15 years.
And how many do you distribute in the course of a week or a month or a year?
We're a monthly publication. We do have e-newsletters that go out twice a week. But our monthly publication, which is a flagship, goes out the first week of every month. And we mail out roughly about 15,000 copies a month.
And they go to hospitals, correct?
They go to hospitals, they go to doctors, they go to all of the industry surrounding the healthcare, servicing, whether it be a product or service.
So you primarily deal with the professional aspect of the whole healthcare industry, hospitals as well as physicians, etc.?
Correct. We're not a consumer publication, although I think if the consumer was to read the newspaper, they'd probably learn a lot about the business of healthcare.
If the consumer wants to call you and say, send me a subscription, you probably would send it to them?
Absolutely, sure.
Okay,
we do have subscriptions outside that industry.
And what is your number where they can reach you at?
They can reach us at 561-368-6950.
And listen, if you're a consumer today and you're out there and, you're in the healthcare industry or if you're in any form of the healthcare industry, or if you're a patient or going to go into a hospital, I recommend that you either look at the Hospital News, try to find one, or call Charles at his number he gave you and ask, and he'll get you a subscription. Charles, one of the biggest things I see that's happening today in the whole hospital industry is these mergers and acquisitions. Right, Boca Raton Community Hospital now is no longer Boca Raton Community. I guess they merged with somebody now?
Well, they put out about probably about 6-9 months ago an exploratory team to look at the different hospital systems to affiliate with. They call it affiliation rather than just kind of buying up a hospital. They went through their first cut. Their second cut turned out to be the last people standing were Cleveland Clinic, Memorial Healthcare, and Baptist Health. Their last cut came down to Baptist Health. So they are in the process right now. Nothing is inked and done, but they're still looking at Baptist as the only choice to put together an operating agreement between the two hospitals.
Now, Bethesda has joined with the Baptist, haven't they?
Yes, Bethesda joined officially about the first of the year, a little towards the end of last year, which took in both Bethesda East and Bethesda West.
So a lot of these smaller community hospitals now, they're basically joining with a larger affiliation. Now, what's the whole purpose of this?
I think one of the reasons why nobody knows what's going on behind, truly within the boardroom going on, but I think part of it is individual hospitals alone have a harder time operating, covering the costs needed to provide excellent patient care. You know, you want more costs to go to patient care than you want to administrative care. Unfortunately, the government agencies require a lot more administrative cost than might have been there 10 or 15 years ago. So in order to provide better patient care, they're affiliating with some of the larger hospitals to help with administrative and to help with expertise. When you take a look at what's going on, although Boca Regional now has a great cancer center with Lynn Cancer Center, you have to remember that Baptist also just put in a proton to handle cancer down in Miami. So, I mean, you're looking at expertise coming in from a variety of different places to really pick up the level of care at Boca Regional, not to really take over, but to really give a little bit more expertise where it would be beneficial to the patient.
So the patient's going to get a larger selection of physicians, a larger selection of care, with once they merge or once they join forces with Baptist or other hospitals.
Yeah, that basically, you know, you could have got that care. There's no question. If you could have got a referral down to Baptist, but it's nice to know that the hospitals are working under the same umbrella to be able to go and be able to call a colleague over at Baptist, and you're not switching systems. So hopefully what will happen is all medical records will be on the same system, so a Baptist hospital could now, doctor and expertise in a certain area could actually see your medical records without having to transfer them over there. They can actually see them and be more efficient.
Yeah, this happened to a friend of mine because she was diagnosed with cancer, and she was up at the Mass General, and what they did, they transferred her records down here, and they're working in conjunction with oncologists down here through Mass General. I know there's probably no affiliation with Mass General, but the doctors are working in affiliation and telling them what they should be giving and what they should not be giving.
Right. Actually, down here now, the affiliations with out-of-state or specialty hospitals are interesting. When you say Mass General, Holy Cross actually has a working relationship with Mass General.
They do?
Absolutely, yes.
And what are some of the other hospitals?
Some of the other hospitals, Baptist has one with Sloan Kettering. Memorial has one with Moffitt. Jupiter Medical Center has an affiliation agreement working with Mount Sinai out of New York for cardio. And the most recently also Indian River Medical Center, going a little bit further north, is now part of the Cleveland Clinic family.
And is MD Anderson out of Texas?
And MD Anderson is now with, I'm trying to think which. You caught me by surprise. They're affiliated with somebody down with MD. And I think part of it also may be Holy Cross may also be affiliated with MD Anderson too. It depends. When you're affiliating with a hospital, for instance, when they're affiliating with Sloan Kettering, they're affiliating with the cancer part of Sloan Kettering,
right? Not
necessarily the whole hospital itself. Same thing with Moffitt. Moffitt, they're affiliated with cancer.
Does that mean I have to go up to Sloan Kettering in New York and stay down here, or can I stay down here?
I think part of it looks at, and again, not being a physician, so, right. But part of it is if you have a serious enough case, then maybe you would be sent up to Sloan Kettering, okay? But if not, if they give you a certain, not a procedure, but a plan for treatment, instead of having to go to Sloan Kettering, to MD Anderson, to Moffitt, you can then get it locally. Few years back, if you were treated for cancer at MD Anderson, you would have to go to MD Anderson, okay, to be able to get the treatment. Now that protocol for treatment could be transferred to a local place.
So basically that whole, it's not merging, but those whole affiliations now are getting, so it's more convenient for our patients in the Florida area. As you know, we're getting more an elderly population coming to Florida. As a result, the factor is when they come from New York, or they come from Boston, they come from Midwest, I'm going back to my own hospital. I'm going to go back up there because they're better treatment. So realistically, we have some great places down here today. They don't have to go back up there.
Yeah, one of the more recent changes also was in West Palm Beach. When I talked about Mount Sinai and Jupiter Medical Center, actually Mount Sinai is affiliating with Jupiter Medical Center on cardio episodes, okay? But Mount Sinai Physicians Group actually opened up, Mount Sinai, not Mount Sinai in Miami Beach, don't confuse, but Mount Sinai Physician Group out of New York. There's a lot of patients that come down to West Palm Beach, actually opened up a multidiscipline practice in West Palm Beach.
As a matter of fact, we had a few of them on. It was part of New York University. We had part of them on our radio show on You and Your Doctor. I think we've had a few of those doctors that came down here from New York and started a practice down here.
Right, and part of it is not only, and then what happens is you also have local doctors that begin to, what I would say, wear the badge of Mount Sinai. And it's not just changing a lab coat or putting on a new badge. There are certain protocols that Mount Sinai is known for, not only the people, but protocols. And they're using those protocols in their practice down here, as would Baptist Memorial, Broward Health, Holy Cross, Jupiter Medical Center. They all have certain protocols, and that's why people want to get together with them, is their protocols and the expertise in patient care.
I just visited Cleveland Clinic, and I can't believe the expansion that's going on at Cleveland Clinic. Well, there are all those new buildings.
Cleveland Clinic, just recently, they're in the process of finishing it. Besides, I'll go into that. Besides at their campus, they just finished an outpatient surgery center and physician practice over in Coral Springs. It's a totally separate building that they built to be able to serve the community. But over there, what they've done is they built a new building, and a lot of the new building, if not the entire new building, is truly focused on outpatients. Because what's happening in the hospital industry is those who are old enough, like you and I, Lou.
Me, mainly.
Right. We used to have to go to a hospital for any procedure. Anything was happening,
Right.
We'd be in the hospital 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, okay? Now, with the way procedures are getting much better, they become outpatient procedures, okay? So what's happening is hospitals are changing their concept and building more outpatient. So what Cleveland Clinic has built is everything new that they're building is really focused towards outpatient, not even inpatient.
It's a thing that amazes me. A lot of these people think that these hospitals make tremendous amounts of money, and the doctors are making tremendous amounts of money, when it's really not so true, because everything is controlled by the insurance payers. Whether it's Medicare, or whether it's managed care, or whether it's managed. Now, a lot of these hospitals, how do they function as far? How do they get paid?
Well, it's interesting. All hospitals get paid almost the same amount, with some adjustments by Medicare and Medicaid, depending on your location and zip code. A little bit different collection, I should say. But in the private pay area, hospitals have to negotiate with insurance companies for reimbursement. So what one hospital is getting reimbursed doesn't mean the other hospital is getting the same reimbursement. It's a lot of it is negotiated. Now, I'm sure there's some standards that's there. I haven't negotiated one myself, but it is negotiated. That's why what you'll find, and I've seen this happen in the last, I guess, 10 years, a couple of times, where all of a sudden you see a hospital or a hospital system saying we're no longer accepting an insurance company.
Well,
and you got to take a look and say, what was that all about?
That just happened with I think, Delray Hospital, where they're having a problem with Humana.
Right. So what happens is they cut that off. So what happens is until they can renegotiate another deal, they don't accept patients.
Charles, we're going to take a little break, have a little commercial, and then we're going to come back. We're going to come back with your son, and we're going to talk about cannabis.
Great.
And you can stay around when your son comes in here. We're going to have Charles' son, who's an editor on the only publication for cannabis news.
All County Healthcare, Inc. is locally owned and operated, serving the Tri-County area, Palm Beach, Dade, and Broward counties for the last 25 years. The practice of medicine is changing dramatically. All County Healthcare, Inc. still does it the old-fashioned way, where our nurses and healthcare professionals come into your home to service your medical needs, providing you the fastest and best care possible. For more information, call 954-717-7027. And remember, Medicare Home Care is covered by Part A of Medicare with no out-of-pocket cost to you. It's your decision, and only your decision, on what healthcare agency you use. Call today. All County Home Health Care, Inc. at 954-717-7027. License 200999096.
And now back to How to Stay Healthy, your weekly doctor's interview and prescription to better health.
How to stay healthy. Well, we just heard about Charles. Charles came on talking to us about the hospital situation. We have his son, Andrew. Andrew, I believe, is a publisher.
Editor-in-chief, yeah.
You're editor-in-chief of the only authorized newsletter for cannabis. Am I correct?
Yeah, the only professional medical newspaper in the state of Florida at the moment for cannabis.
What is happening? A lot of people out here are going on this medical marijuana, medical cannabis,
Right.
whether it's liquid form, vapor form. Tell us about what's happening in the cannabis industry.
Well, what's happening right now in the cannabis industry is it all stems back to the opioids effects of the idea that everybody was hooked on opioids. So the way of coming off opioids is the best way is, I would say, medical marijuana. And the way you go about getting medical marijuana right now is you would start off by going to see a certified doctor. And to be a certified doctor, you have to be an MD or DO. And after that, that doctor takes a course. Then the doctor can recommend. You never prescribe medical marijuana. You recommend it. So they'll go see that doctor. They'll spend some time with the doctor, and then they'll go from there, being put into the registry, which is state-run. After that, they'll go back home. They'll send their application into the state. Once they send it into the state, it takes right now about 5 to 15 days to get fully approved. You'll get an email with a number. You then can take that number until your card comes at a later date, that number to one of 13 licensed dispensaries in the state. Now,
Well, where's the closest one?
the closest one to us right here in Boca would be Lake Worth. True Leaf, which is a brand, and Cure Leaf are located in Lake Worth. And then from there, your next closest one would be down in Dadeland or South Beach.
They're that far apart.
They are that far apart, and I can say that in about a month, maybe a little less than a month, there will be a Cure Leaf located in Deerfield Beach.
Well, let me ask you: is there any truth to this truism about if you take this stuff, it's supposed to help you with your knee pain, your back pain, or any kind of pain you got?
Yes, a lot of people have seen that the ingredients inside of medical marijuana, to give you a little breakdown, is there's CBD, which is the medical side, medicinal part of it, and then there's the THC. So if you've ever been a part of marijuana, ever in your entire life, or cannabis, the THC is that the component that gives you the high effect.
That's what you smoke.
That's exactly. When you smoke marijuana, the high effect is the THC in it. The medical part is the CBD. So as long as it has CBD inside of it, there is a medical component going inside your body.
Along with the THC?
Well, yeah, along with the THC. That's the medical side of it. Now, if you don't want to go the medical route of medical marijuana, they do sell just the CBD part of it over the counter in your local stores or doctor's offices.
You know, I was talking to you outside, and you told me it really does work.
It does, and I'll give you...
I've been trying it. You know, I don't see any effect of it.
Well,
right?
I'll give you a quick little story on it. I've no problem saying it. I've had a history of blood clots. I've had about 48 blood clots in my legs. Every time I go in the hospital and come out, I get put on opioids for the pain. And ever since I was able to go to an event and see CBD, somebody handed me a thing of CBD, and I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, no, try it. Went home on a Friday night. Said I got nothing to do that weekend. I might as well try. Try the CBD. Lou, I'm telling you, 30, 45 minutes later, I felt relaxed. I felt the pain starting to go away, and that was the only thing I'd taken. I was like, maybe this is just me. Gave it to my father, who had back pain. He took it the next day. 30, 45 minutes later, his back pain started to decrease.
Well, how much do you take of it?
Well, it just depends. I can't really say. I'm not, a physician and so forth. But what I always tell people is, it comes in, a vial.
How many ounces?
Well, it's a 30 ml bottle.
Yeah.
I always say people start, 5 to 10 milligrams, and then go up, try it. Wait 3, 4, 5 hours. See if you have any effect. If you don't, try a little more. Maybe the next day, try a little more. Try it until you start to feel effect. Now, I will say, it won't work on everybody. Not every medicine works on everybody. But I will, and I can wholeheartedly say it has worked on myself. I use it. My father's used it, and I know a lot of people that it does help with.
Do I need a prescription for that?
Not for CBD. CBD is over the counter. Now, medical marijuana, there's not a thing called a prescription. Your doctor makes a recommendation. There's only about 3 patients in the United States that get prescription marijuana or cannabis from the federal government. Now, only one of those out of 3 actually get medicine. His name is Ivan Rosenfeld, and he is located actually in Boca, but he is the only patient right now in the country that gets prescription written for him and gets medical or marijuana hand delivered to him.
Now, what? Let me ask a question. If I went to one of these and I got my medical marijuana card, whoever gets a medical marijuana card, they go to the place where they fill that up in Lake Worth.
Yeah.
How much can they buy? As much as they want?
Well, no. It's based on the dosages. It's usually, 70 days worth. But my recommendation to everybody, if you decide to get a medical marijuana card, is everybody gets excited because it's new medicine. It's going to help you, and you get excited. A lot of people I know have gone to the dispensaries and filled their full recommendation. And once you fill that full recommendation, you have to wait that amount of 6 months to go back to get more. My recommendation is go to the dispensaries, get an oil, a vape, and maybe a topical cream, whatever your ailment is. Try it. Find out what works in the first 10 to 15 days, then go back and get more. Because if you fill it all, it's just like a prescription. You can't bring it back, and you can't get more.
Are there certain grades? Everybody is selling it.
Right.
Because I got one pharmacy, he says, oh, try this cream with CBD, and they give you, he said even try it with the pain medication. What's that new pain medication they put in everything now that comes over the counter? Lidocaine.
Lidocaine.
Put some lidocaine on and rub the marijuana CBD oil right on your leg.
I think it's personal preference. My opinion is with CBD, is you try it and you keep trying it. A lot of people, think that if they try it and it doesn't work, oh, it's not for me. It's something you've got to continue to use.
Is there any side effects?
I can't say yes or no to side effects. I personally, am being in this business for over a year and a half now, have not heard of anybody saying I took CBD and I got a rash, or CBD and I got puffiness in the face. I haven't heard anybody come to me and say, Andrew, I took CBD and this happened to me.
Do you see more and more people using it?
I see a lot of people. I would say there are more people out there using it than you're actually aware of. Not a lot of people talking about it, but there are definitely a lot of people out there using it.
Andrew, let me say this.
And sorry, it's not even just for humans. It has seen a huge and dramatic difference inside of animals and pets.
No kidding.
It is one of the best things that's helped dogs. I know a lot of older dogs that have seizures, pain, joint pain, like a bulldog that always knees and so forth. It has actually helped make the dog's seizures stop and joint pain lessen and be more active than older animals.
Well, that's interesting. They give it with the same vial?
Same exact vial. But, there is a pet formula, right, and there's, in humans. So try it in your pet food, try it in the water, give it to them in a treat. But there is scientific proof that it is helping animals.
What is the average cost of a vial?
I've seen vials range anywhere between milligrams. So I always look at the 1,000 or 1,500 milligrams, anywhere between $120 to $180.
And how long does it last usually?
Depend on how many milligrams you take. I mean, for myself, that takes it twice a day or, 4 times a day. A bottle will probably last me 30 or 40 days.
That long?
It depends on how many milligrams you have to take. If you're only taking 4 or 5 milligrams and that works for you, it's going to last you a lot longer. If you're taking 10 or 15 or 20 milligrams, of course it's going to last a lot less.
And what are some of the ailments that it's used for?
Chronic pain. I've seen people use it for, seizures, epilepsy, and a lot of children, you're seeing that have seizures and epilepsy and MS and so forth, are using CBD. But they're also stepping up to using medical marijuana because they need the THC to really help them relax and bring the pain down.
Okay, let's say I get this medical marijuana, it's the THC, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm carrying it in my car, and a police officer stops me, and all of a sudden I get arrested for medical marijuana. I get marijuana.
That's
what do I do?
I won't sit and give an answer really to that, but I will say that if it is in a sealed container, which I prefer a locked container, and you do get pulled over and a police officer does ask you, at that point I would show your medical marijuana card that you have that looks just like a license to them. It's at their discretion, but you should be, I won't say you should be okay, but it's a state-issued ID. But the big thing is you're not using it while in the car, and the big thing is you are allowed to use medical marijuana in a private home or private establishment. You're not allowed to be using it out on the street or in your car. So my recommendation is if you are going to take medical marijuana, wait many hours before operating, just like using pain meds. They always say wait hours before operating a vehicle. I would say the same thing with medical marijuana.
Oh, so there is a risk factor if you're smoking it in the car or using it, not smoking it, but you're taking it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, smoking it out in a public place is technically against the law, even with your medical card.
Well, listen, you guys, if you're out there, you're going to try medical marijuana, make sure you do it at your home.
That's right.
Am I right?
I mean, but that's what it is. I mean, that's the use that you should be using it for, is using it in your home.
Well, I really want to thank, we have 2 minutes left. I really want to thank Andrew, and I want to thank his father, Charles, for coming by. I hope we gave you a little more information what's happening in the hospital industry, in the medical industry, and what's happening in the cannabis industry. The cannabis industry is growing, Andrew?
It's
least
establishing. So we're about 140,000 patients right now and growing about 2,300 patients every week. And we're about 1,600 doctors at the moment right now.
So you have how many patients again?
About 140,000 patients right now in the state of Florida.
In the state of Florida.
Yep.
Well, again, how much more time we got to go? We got 1 more minute. So how many you get? You getting an increase a week?
It looks like between 2,000 to 2,500 patients are applying every week.
Amazing. That's amazing.
It's, you know, with the opioid crisis right now and the opioid thing where you had to drop down to 3 days of prescription, this is the best option next from opioids.
How does it's like a great business opportunity. How do you get into the business aspect of
Well,
it?
you got to be a doctor, and then you got to apply, and then you got to have a clinic and so forth. If they want more information, I'm more than happy to
Give them your
talk
number.
more. You can give me a call 954-296-9199, or shoot us out an email. You can get off of cannabisnewsflorida.com.
Give the phone number again.
954-296-9199.
Thanks again. Totally appreciate you guys coming in. Of
course.
Hope to have you on again.
Yeah,
And I hope
whenever.
you had a little bit more knowledge about what's happening again in the hospital industry. And wherever you are, David DePino, we're going to see you back here, we hope, Tuesday night. So, folks, thanks for listening. And remember, All County Healthcare if you have any home care needs. Thank you again.
For a prescription to better health from the top doctors in the medical fields of cardiology, neurology, orthopedics, sports medicine, and primary care, join us each week on the How to Stay Healthy show.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.